Hi guys, it's Chet. I'm going to do a little compilation video of some of the wonderful things that there are to forage out here, here in late summer and all the way through fall. And first, I'd like to start here with this bush right here by the house. And this is a wonderful blue elderberry. Now, I probably might have a lot of wind coming through, but they get these nice little white flowers that come in big bunches, by the thousands. And then what it'll do is it'll produce this big berry head like this, and you can cut the whole thing here, and then you can separate out the berries. You don't want the stems. The stems on these are toxic. And what this white powder is on these is like yeast, and the yeast will grow. And my wife actually makes a wonderful elderberry jam out of these elderberries. You can eat them just kind of like raw like this, but to me they taste like ass. They got a big seed like in the middle of each one. But it's a really neat plant. It grows native just all over out here in Idaho and along these like stream beds and stuff. You can see kind of what the leaves look like, and we'll get back and we'll look at that one there. This is going to be the blue elderberry. It's extremely recognizable. And I think I've only seen a few red elderberries out here, and the red ones are definitely poison. You don't want those. These blue ones are one of the most identifiable berry trees. And this thing, they grow in a tree, and they can get about 20 feet tall or so. Anywhere from like a small, bush clear to a tree. So this is our blue elderberry, and I don't think I have to go too far to find the next one, but these guys here are hawthorns, and that's what my big thicket, the big hedgerow here is. We call it the hedgerow. It's a thicket. And these are hawthorns. And they're very identifiable as well. It has some like variegated leaves here like this. And these are called haw. People call them haws, H-A-W, or hawberry. My little guy is like obsessed with trying to eat these, but these are extremely mealy on the inside. They taste very bland, and they're very mealy tasting. And these haw trees, or hawthorns here, they call them. They have a huge thorn, and you guys can see like the big thorns on these guys, and they grow really, really thick, and they basically are totally impassable. They create an excellent, hedgerow, but they produce these haw berries just in the millions, damn near, and we got them all over, One thing that I've been told is that these haw berries are really high in pectin, and adding a couple of these in any kind of jam has like a lot of natural pectin in it, and will really get your gelatin going there. So these guys were right here together, pretty easy. I'm gonna click it off and we'll go wander around. We've got all kinds of stuff, variations of different wild plums, apples. We've even got like some wild hops down in the creek here that are just kind of vining everywhere, and those are smelling pretty good right now. So we'll go and we'll take a look at all these. Okay, so up here at the shop we have one variation of wild plum, and this particular wild plum tree here actually has quite a few thorns on it. There's a whole bunch of different variations of wild plums, and some of them, I call them cherry plums when they're about this small. And these ones happen to be, kind of like a tangerine color here. And they're actually really good. My boys come up here and pick these things, and they actually kind of taste like apricots to me. And you see they're like real. These ones are good. They got a little pit in the middle. And these ones are like a tangerine color, kind of oblong leaf, tiny variegations on the end. But there's a whole bunch of different varieties of these. Got some bright red ones and purple and stuff like that. And these wild plums grow all over out here. This one's up by the shop. I call them cherry plums when they're that small. And go take a look at some of these other plums. Alright guys, here we have some nice like classic little like purple plums, little purple wildies here. But they're in the bloom pretty good. They got the yeast on them, you know. And yeah, a little green there. So these ones, these purple ones here, they won't get quite ripe until damn near fall. And they'll hang on here. And these are the last ones to drop. I notice these plums, they drop in sequence kind of by color. And maybe so there's always some food on the ground, you know, for the animals. It's kind of like how they're designed, but little purple plums. This particular one here is thornless. And then its leaf is roughly the same. Maybe a little more wide instead of oblong, and then it still has little variations on the end. But we'll see if we can taste this little purple plum. And it's pretty tart. Take a look here. Get my hand out of the light here. Alright, that baby is tart. Still got like the yellow flesh on the inside. These purple plums have a particularly large pit compared to the size of the fruit versus the other plums there. So, okay, let's go see. We'll go see if we can find some red cherry plums down here. Alright guys, this might not be considered an edible, but this is a wonderful little wild hops plant here, a vine, and happens to be growing kind of on the bridge here. And we got to cross this bridge. This is up our driveway, across the creek. And I guess these are just like an American wild hop, grows as a vine. And right now they're pretty perked out, you know. Yeah, I kind of do like a little bit of that there with them. Now they'll dry. Let me kind of give them a good. And it just smells like wicked IPA, like some really serious IPA. When you smell them, just hardcore. It's like the most pure, like right off the draft when they slide it up on the counter for you, just like the most like high like IBU value IPA you can get. These things smell quite bitter. Something like maybe like Ranger IPA or something pretty potent like that. But a little look at here at the wild hops we have grown out here. I'll show you the rest of the vine. So the vine here kind of grows up the bridge, comes down here, did a little work over here, and all this got torn down. The vines got wrecked, but see the vines just kind of extend way down. They go on the creek here. I mean, there's just thousands of hops, you know. And in classic vining fashion, you'll see that they go from like the willows, you know, down. They'll bridge themselves across some of the like minor shrubs and like juvenile fruit trees. Come up over here to another fruit tree. They're dangling up there, you know. All the way down, they wind up here on the bridge for us, where it's nice and convenient for us to come and smell a hop. Kind of cool. That's what the leaf looks like. If I can kind of, I'll back out. It's like a better of the leaf. And the hop. Although not an edible, I would definitely consider it something unique and valuable for just like wild foraging and kind of grown on its own out here. You don't see it that often, you know, anywhere else, but kind of looks like we're in the desert out here, but in these draws and where these creeks are, it's just totally bountiful. So Let's go check out some of these other plums. I just stumbled on this here on the way to these other plums. All right, a whole bunch of kind of sour apples here. We find these things all over the ground, but they're like a green sour apple, but they grow native out here, and they're just everywhere. Now the thing is, I just had an apple fall out of the tree, land on my head, and then it bounced and hit the top of the camera and it turned the video off. We're gonna check out one of these little apples here, kind of sour crabby. So they're obviously ready to come down. This little wild apples. Now, this one looks worm free. Okay, a lot of these will just get, most of them get loaded with worms. But the thing about the apples out here is they just hit the ground, and then like the deer and wildlife or livestock, they come forage them up off the ground. Most of the apple trees, you don't have any fruit accessible as far as like a horse or a cow can reach up into the tree. But nice little crabby here. And my wife has actually made apple butter out of these, and it turned out quite well. Turns out that apple butter, it really doesn't matter the tartness or whatever of the apple. When you cook it down and then you add everything into the recipe, it just comes out flavored the same. So we have a lot of canning experience with these little crabbies making some apple butter. So this guy here, I don't know. This one's surprisingly good, and maybe not as tart as last year. So nice little apple there. And there are lots and lots of these. Down the road here, we actually will take the pickup down, and they're laying all over the ground. The ones that are already fallen, maybe have a few little holes in them or whatever. And we just scoop up just loads of them and bring them back, and we throw them to the chickens. And excellent treat for the chickens or any kind of like fowl that you keep. I don't give the wormy ones to the horses. I'll come and I'll get like some pretty choice ones, and then we'll feed them to the horses, and they love that. So we'll go up here. I'm in search of the elusive red cherry plum, so stay tuned. All right, here's some red ones. Now these bright red plums, slightly different color, but they have the same size and whatever as those little tangerine looking ones. And I'm having to pull these down quite far because everything that's available is gone. No thorns on this though. So little tangerine ones seem to have thorns. This nice red little, almost like a cherry, like maybe a Rainier cherry. There's a few down low. A red. Maybe the size of like a Rainier cherry or something, but these are really sweet, and really these ones here are really good. I'll show you that same like flesh as the orange one. The pit is roughly the same size. So the pit is roughly the same size. I call them cherry plums. They look to me like a big Rainier cherry, but not too bad. So the thing I've noticed between these red ones and the more common like tangerine colored ones is that the ones that are red on the outer skin, they don't have the thorns in the tree. The trees look pretty much identical, but no thorns for these ones that are bright red, and they're a little sweeter. The tangerine ones in color, that tree is the same here, except has thorns here and there up the branch. And I did a little research on like some of these different wild plums and stuff out here. Some of them have thorns, some of them don't, but there's no mistaking when you pick one up and taste it. I mean, you'll know what you're getting into. So they're all pretty good, but that's a cool list of like little things to forage out here. up the way here, there's like some huckleberries and a bunch of Saskatoons and different things like that. And maybe if I get in the pickup and I drive up the road here at some point, we'll go and we'll look at them Saskatoons and huckleberries and some different things like that. So that's what's right here, just walking around the place. So anyhow, another thing is you cannot pick these things and hope to keep them. You got to pick them and eat them. If you pick these wild plums and these berries and you put them in your house and you give them a good rinse, even if you do like a light vinegar rinse on them, you know, I've tried cold ice bath or whatever, 2 days later these things will just be mush. For some reason, as soon as they're picked, they're like bammo, they're instantly mush. And I find that like you can keep them maybe a day, 2 days at the max if you like to pick a bunch. Otherwise, if you're going to do preserves, canning, different things like that, they're ideal for that. But you know, if you're going to do them right away, but they don't keep at all, so keep that in mind. Don't get real eager if you guys go out and find a bunch of these and you know load up, because in like 1 or 2 days on the counter, your bounty of fruit will just be a pile of mush. And that's speaking from experience here. So, all right, guys, little forage out here around the place. This is Chet, as always. Thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, like it. Go ahead and click the box here to subscribe, and keep tuned in here for some of my other random videos. So we'll be doing a couple of quirky antique handguns in .32 automatic here within the next week. So stay tuned.